Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Starfleet Academy as we continue with Cadet Forrester's career in Starfleet Academy, at least. So last time we did another mission with the Venturi. Nothing too special there other than the horrific fact that they used Medusans as like a living bio bomb of sorts. Oh, I am in the wrong menu. Uh, so now we'll be continuing on with the main story and hopefully with less bugs. All right. Crew stats, which I would imagine haven't changed from last time. And let's continue.
There has been a disturbance on the Romulan Federation neutral zone. Several outposts set up to monitor the treaty zone have recently gone silent. Your mission is to check on outposts 2 and 3 and investigate the cause of their problem. Please note that this scenario is based on an actual incident. To reflect that, the ship you will be flying in will be based on the specs for a Constitution-class vessel, stardate 1709.
Captain's log, stardate 4055.4. Two of the outposts along the Romulan and Federation neutral zone have gone silent. We are about to investigate the first of the two outposts, Outpost 2.
You think the Romulans are at the bottom of this?
That seems probable. Romulans tend to be very aggressive in their tactics.
And sneaky.
Well then, we'd better keep our heads about us.
Course laid in, Captain.
All right, there is a lot to read there. So just to get the scenario moving, move us to yellow alert. Miss Acton, warp us outpost 2 and engage. Figure we can catch up on the library computer afterwards. And it's not too critical for this mission because I know what it's based on. Specifically, it was a season 1, I think, episode of Star Trek: The Original Series.
Sensors show that Outpost 2 has been decimated, Captain. There are no life signs on the asteroid.
What kind of force could have done something like that? Course laid in, Captain.
There's no answer to our hail, sir.
All right, Miss Acton, take us to Outpost 3. Gia hail, Starbase.
Hailing frequency open.
Everything is going fine. Forrester out.
Okay, I was wondering if they'd let us report in, which would be the smart thing to do, but apparently not.
The outpost is completely destroyed, Captain.
I'm picking up a distress signal from the Cation freighter Hazardi. It is being attacked by a Klingon ship.
Tell the freighter we're on our way.
Course
Miss
laid in,
Acton,
Captain.
warp us there. Maximum warp. Also, I like how the specs, Alright, red alert, all hands, battle stations.
Captain, I'm detecting the remains of a freighter in this system.
Transmission override from the heavy cruiser, Captain.
Federation, you are.
That's all, Captain.
Back to maximum outpost, core and target the Klingon heavy cruiser, and open fire. Hey, weren't we just in the Anansi system in the last episode? That's kind of a fun coincidence there.
Forward shields are critical, sir.
Alright, move us around.
That shield system
Ooh, D7A.
Repair crews are working on it.
Or no,
Support has been hit.
the regular D7. The A has the cloaking device, my bad. For a second I thought the A had, whatchamacallit, rear
shields
tubes,
online.
but the regular one does have two. Miss Acton, half impulse, bring us around, core and prepare weapons, and fire.
That shield system is damaged, Captain. Repair crews are working on it.
Alright, I suppose we should,
Upper shields repaired.
whew, everything's looking pretty
Captain, we're
bad.
getting a distress signal from Outpost 4.
Outpost 4, this is Captain David Forrester of the USS Ranger. Who is attacking you?
We're not sure. Some shippy punched straight through our deflector shield with some kind of plasma energy weapon, but then disappeared. Respond to our surrender. Captain, if you can hurry. Please. Please hurry, Captain.
We lost him, Captain.
Course laid in, Captain. Course laid in, Captain.
All right. Magia hails Starbase.
Hailing frequency open.
Everything is going fine. Forrester out. Everything.
All right. Everything is still fine, apparently.
Lower shields online.
Well, they're dead, so I don't think we have to worry about them, but I do want to get there before the Romulans run off. So stand down weapons and shields, divert power to the warp engine, and warp as thermos acted. We will switch over we will turn it back on when we're in system. There we go.
Captain, sensors indicate that a Romulan bird of prey is approaching fast.
Sturk, scan Outpost 4.
Long-range scanners show that Outpost 4 has been destroyed, sir.
Yeah,
There's
hail
no answer
Outpost
to
4.
our hail, sir.
Alright, let's target the Romulan light cruiser. Sturk, target their cloak. Damn it, they cloaked, so I can't sub-target.
Sir,
That's
the
unfortunate.
Romulan ship has cloaked. I can, however, use motion sensors to detect approximately where they are located.
Alright, where would that be? 'Cause that's just Outpost 4.
Lower shields repaired.
Alright, is that tractor beam repaired? Fuck. Alright, where are they? There they are. They got in behind us. Open fire when ready.
Completed repairs on the tractor beam, sir.
Alright, let's divert damage controls from the tractor beam for now. And Brady, divert power to shields. We'll need it if his plasma if his
Captain, the Romulan ship is decloaked off the stern.
Yep.
Upper shields have been
You know,
hit.
right
Shield system is
like
damaged,
that.
Captain. Repair crews are working on it. Aft, that shield system is damaged.
This is the Starship Ranger. Prepare to abandon your vessel.
No. That is not our way. I salute you, Captain. You are a man of courage and... in another world, we might have been friends. As Romulans, we must be creatures of duty. I have followed duty my entire life. Now, there is just one final duty to perform. Goodbye, Captain.
Captain, we have just received word from Starfleet. They said they will back us up no matter what we do.
Alright, mission objective complete.
Phasers are operational
How
again,
kind of
Captain.
them to back us for what we've already
completed
done.
repairs on the phasers, Captain.
Alright,
Upper
actually,
shields online.
life support's pretty good, and that fight went a lot better than I anticipated
shields
since
online.
he did get his
Forward shields online.
plasma his plasma weapon off. But we are pretty good for it. Stand down to yellow alert. Magia hail the outpost. I forgot if
There's
we did
no
that.
answer to our hail, sir.
Didn't think there would be. Alright, so while we lick our wounds here, Sturk, scan the outpost. I think I did that alright. And yes, if you couldn't tell already, this is based on the TOS episode Balance of Terror, where it basically played exactly like this. There was a series, Starfleet lost communications with a bunch of outposts along the neutral zone, and they sent the Enterprise to investigate. And they came just as another outpost was attacked, and it's basically like a submarine movie, with the Romulan vessel being like the German U-boat, and the Enterprise being, a Fletcher-class destroyer. And they played
Upper
a
shields
game
repaired.
of cat and mouse for a while. Very interesting. And I think
Lower
they,
shields repaired.
in a
Forward
way,
shields repaired.
redid it
We've completed repairs
with,
on the tractor beam, sir.
Star Trek New Worlds, which I haven't watched the Strange New World series because I haven't watched Strange New Worlds or Discovery or Picard because Picard and Discovery just did not seem like they were not what I come to Star Trek for. Let's just say that. So I have my doubts about Strange New Worlds, especially with some of the things I said about the new season, but oh, maybe it will be good. Lower Decks, on the other hand, is really freaking good, and you should watch it. You got to make it past the first episode, though. Some people get put off by that, but it definitely gets better. Anyways, I didn't come here about talk about Star Trek, so let's talk about Star Trek. Let's start with all the related articles here. So we have the Romulan Federation War. War between the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire that began in 2156. This war was fought with primitive nuclear weapons and no subspace communication. This war led to the Treaty of Algernon, and then to the Romulan Neutral Zone. Excuse me. A second war was barely averted in 2260, when Captain James T. Kirk engaged and destroyed a prototype Romulan ship that breached the Neutral Zone. Though relations have been tense since then, there have been no other incidents of this magnitude. And then we have Romulans. Can we scroll down? Nope. We cannot. I guess that entry's it, because I don't see a period here. So either they forgot the period or they cut it off because it doesn't fit. But Romulans, warrior race descended from Vulcans during a brutal colonization period that took place before the Vulcans developed the stringent codes of conduct created by Surak. The Romulans, however, did not reject passion and aggression and underwent a period of rapid expansion that formed the Romulan Star Empire. Their expansion towards Federation worlds was stopped in a comprehensive conflict in 2156 between Earth and the Romulan Star Empire. The war was only stopped because both sides realized a continuance of the conflict would cripple their respective cultures. Since that time, the Romulans have constantly tested the Federation. Most notable tests occurred in 2266, when a prototype bird of prey with cloaking technology was sent to penetrate Federation defenses as a prelude to an invasion. The destruction of that ship by Captain James T. Kirk averted the impending war by proving the Federation was strong enough to stand up to a Romulan offensive. Romulans currently use ships of Klingon design, and that is because in the 23rd century, and it's funny because this whole thing is because I think there was like one episode where they reused the Klingon D7 for Romulans, for like just as Romulan ships, where they just painted the Romulan bird of prey under them. So the lore behind this is, I believe it's the house of what is it? It's the house that framed Moog for Kittimer. Duras. The House of Duras. House of Duras has always been kind of a dishonorable house, but unfortunately a very influential one. And so what they did was at some point they went and they helped set up a treaty with the Romulans, because canonically this was supposed to be the first ship with a cloaking device that we know of. You know, they changed that with Discovery by giving the Klingons a bunch of cloaking devices. They even changed it in Enterprise, so because they encounter like an even earlier prototype, and I think cloaking mines as well. But they didn't repeat that mistake because the fans got outraged at the Romulans having cloaking technology in Enterprise. So eventually they went to other methods, which, well, I get what they were trying to do, and they didn't have a lot of options. But so I'll not go too much into that, especially since I really like last season of Enterprise overall, which actually deals with the arc. There's basically an arc that kind of documents the end of that Vulcan era where the Romulans got cast out. Really fun arc. But anyways, so Duras sets up this mutual aid agreement with the Romulans where the Klingons gave the Romulans the specs to produce D7 battle cruisers, and the Romulans gave the Klingons access to cloaking technology. So that's why the Klingon bird of prey has a cloak, starting with the bird of prey that we see in episode 3. And that's why the Romulans will occasionally be seen using Klingon ships. And I was going to go somewhere else with this. Where was I? Oh yeah. Also, just to circle back to that Romulan Federation War article, note that it said much like Spock said in the actual Balance of Terror episode, that both sides used primitive nuclear weapons and had no subspace communications. Originally, that's what the Romulan War was supposed to be. However, Enterprise retconned that because in Enterprise we can see they have photonic torpedoes, which are just photon torpedoes. 'Cause I think they originally had nuclear torpedoes, but they replaced them in like the first episode. Likewise, they obviously have subspace communications because they can talk to Earth while they're out on the, exploring space. And they have better defensive measures than what they had in the canon's original rendition of the Earth Romulan War, which was a very crude setting. And there was even a book series on it that kind of went into all that. They didn't take prisoners because they had very limited means to actually take prisoners and support them because life support was still kind of limited back then and stuff like that. So it was a very brutal war, and that sets up the revelation that no one has seen a Romulan before by the time Kirk fights one. And obviously they have to they have to do some leaps around that logic in Enterprise, because otherwise that decanonizes like half of that episode where was it Lieutenant Riley or whatever does a little racism against Spock when they find out Romulans and Vulcans look the same. But yeah, so obviously that got retconned, so this one too. Anyways, Romulans, warrior, right? I read part of it already. Their expansion towards Federation worlds was stopped in a comprehensive conflict in 2156 between Earth and the Romulan Star Empire. The war was only stopped because both sides realized a continuance of the conflict would cripple their respective cultures. Since that time... Oh wait, no, I read all this already. Never mind, I'm sorry. I'm getting so scared. Brain. Romulus. One of two Romulan homeworlds of the Romulan Star Empire. The other is Remus, which we learn more about in Star Trek Nemesis. Like it or hate it. I kind of like the idea of it because that certainly fits in with the Romulans. And we can see Remus, one of the two homeworlds of the Romulan Star Empire, and there's just a generic picture here because until Nemesis, there was no one really cared about Remus. They only mentioned they would say Romulus and Remus, but everything was always with regards to Romulus. They visited Romulus, they talked about Romulus. They never did the same for Remus until Nemesis. Alright, so we have Bird of Prey. A starship vessel shared Romulan and Klingon design. The Klingon craft possesses cloaking technology, photon torpedoes, and disruptors. Based on an older design, the Romulan Bird of Prey only possesses cloaking technology and plasma torpedoes. Due to the severe power demands of the cloak, both types of vessels must become visible in order to fire. And as we saw in here, and I think this was true in the Balance of Terror episode as well, the Romulan ship did not have shields. You'll notice that our weapons directly hit the hull whenever we fired, which is why it's a little shame that the Romulans bumped into us, because they are a lighter vessel, so they took a lot more damage than us, and that gave us the opportunity to unload into them, which, as you saw, broke off like a quarter of their ship. I think the Romulan Bird of Prey might not even, at least in the Balance of Terror, I'm not even sure if it had a warp drive. I thought there was some debate about whether they even bothered to equip it or not, because it was supposed to be a one-way journey. Anyways, cloaking device. An energy screen that renders the cloaked object invisible to the naked eye in conventional scanning methods. Cloaking technology is currently used by both Klingon and Romulan birds of prey. Federation research into this field achieved great strides following a covert mission known as the Enterprise Incident, which allowed Starfleet access to a Romulan cloaking device. Current agreements with the Klingon and Romulan empires forbid the Federation use of cloaking device. And actually, that is another TOS episode, the Enterprise Incident, where Spoilers, obviously. But if I remember right, Kirk pretends to be crazy and runs runs the Enterprise into the Romulan neutral zone. They get surrounded. I think that might have been the episode where they used the Klingon D7s. But then Spock relieves Kirk of command and starts courting the Romulan woman. But it turns out this was all a ploy to get Spock onto their ship so he could steal a cloaking device. And then they warp away and use the cloaking device to hide themselves. And so now the Romulans don't have proof other than sensor records, which I'm sure the Federation would disclaim were falsified. And they return the cloaking device to the Federation. And Kirk, who is obviously not crazy, resumes command. And they take the Romulan woman as a prisoner. But anyways, plasma torpedo. Romulan ship-based weapon of extreme power, but limited range. This is the weapon featured in the Balance of Terror, and it is a very powerful weapon that astonished the Enterprise when they saw its destructive power. But yeah, it has limited range, and eventually in some games, like I don't know if you could do it in this game, but in Star Trek Starfleet Command, at least for the first two games, you can actually shoot phasers at and just weapons in general at Romulan torpedoes to weaken or destroy them, which is weird because they're a bolt plasma, but whatever. Disruptors, a directed energy weapon roughly equivalent in destructive force to Federation phasers, but with distinctive energy patterns. Klingons and Romulans, amongst other races, have both portable and ship-mounted versions. And then let's see. Any other entries I missed? Organium. That has nothing to do with the Romulan. I don't know why that's listed as a related thing under the Romulans. It should be under the Klingons. And it's not. Wow. Okay. Neutral zone outposts. These outposts were set up on asteroids during the Romulan Federation War of 2156 to monitor the Romulan neutral zone for unusual disturbances or potential treaty violations. The reason they were set up in asteroids is because at the time, these asteroids were large enough that, combined with the armor plating on the outposts, which were embedded deep in the asteroids, they were able to withstand a significant amount of weapons fire. And that's why everyone is shocked, because the plasma torpedo basically just vaporizes them. And then neutral zones, two regions of space bordering Federation territory that are considered to be held by neither side of the disputing governments. One such zone lies between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. The second region separates the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire. By treaty, no ship is allowed to enter the Romulan neutral zone. However, under the Organian Peace Treaty, the Federation and the Klingon Empire may compete to develop planets within the Klingon neutral zone. So I think, yeah, I think that's it for our library entries. Set green alert, reset damage control teams. Miss Acton, if you could please warp us back to Starbase. God, the Constitution is just such a beautiful ship. Igia, if you would please hail Starbase and let them know mission accomplished.
Hailing frequency open.
Mission accomplished, Starfleet.
Congratulations. You have stopped the Romulan from getting home, and thus prevented war. Good job, Cadet. Congratulations. You have dealt with overwhelming odds in a manner consistent with the best traditions of Starfleet.
Alright, so pretty positive there. So we'll just save our game here. And we'll see any crew just. Ooh, don't want to load game. Sturk. Was he at 90% before? I can't remember. I think everything looks the same here. We're all at least 80% and above, so that's good. And I'm sure once this investigation is done, Sturk and Brady's scores should come up. I'd like to see Corrin and Acton's scores come up a bit more too. Magia's, as the cadet captain, I want to see Magia's scores come up. As a player, I don't give a shit though because I mean, what's she going to affect? My ability to hail people, you know? Whereas at least, with regards to the other officers, I don't know if what Forrester does. Maybe he just gives a generic all round boost. Sturrock affects sensors. Brady affects damage control and power. Corrin affects weapon accuracy, and maybe even weapon reload rates and such. Acton probably affects impulse power and maneuverability. So there's not really much left for Megia to affect. Kind of wish you could adjust these. Well, maybe if you edited the save file, you could adjust the scores and see exactly what the differences would be. That set them to 0, run a mission, and then set them to all to 100, run a mission, see what the difference is and everything. But anyways, let's continue.
It's not right. It's just not fair.
We have to do something.
David, one thing I've learned is that sometimes you have to bend the letter of the law to learn the spirit of the law.
Exactly.
What if the evidence against you were to disappear?
No. I won't let the rest of you get expelled to try to help me.
Well, Forrester. Guess this makes you a civilian again.
You're about a millisecond away from sudden death, Milan.
We were just leaving. We don't want to break up your pity party.
Look, you guys better get going. You have to prepare for your sim tonight, okay?
Yeah.
Hello, David.
Faith.
Can I sit?
Sure, sit down.
I heard about what the command staff did to you. They're completely unfair.
I know.
Look, David, I've got a problem, too. I visited Robin the day before the explosion, and I spotted a schematic for a homemade bomb.
You think Robin planted the bomb?
I don't know. But when I heard they found some new evidence, I was worried. I don't want to see anything happen to Robin. David, we gotta break into that lab and see if they have any real evidence against him. Now, you know the lab's access code, and I know where to look for the evidence.
Okay. Let's break into the lab.
Good, okay. I'll meet you tonight after our nebula analysis seminar.
Perfect.
Okay, great, I'll see you then.
See you, Faith.
Suspicious. Since I forgot to mention that, because it's been a little while now, but because we cheated on the Kobayashi Maru and we are able to play this with the Commandant to basically get us put on suspension so we could aid in their investigation into Brady and Sturrock. So that's kind of what they were all talking about, if you had forgotten that, because it's been a little while. And now, out of the blue, someone comes up claiming to have proof that, or claiming to have proof that, well, yeah, proof or the possibility of proof that Brady was guilty. Suspicious. And she's in Milan's crew, isn't she? So, I guess we'll have to see where that leads next time. Any crew changes? Nope. Scores aren't changed. So, guess that's where we'll leave off today. And with that, thank you all for watching and stay tuned for next time and stay safe out there. And we'll see you then.